Hello, this video is going to just cover some of the things we did last week. Last week I gave you a list of questions and had you ask me some questions and voice your concerns about the course. I've gone through and responded to each of your individual discussion posts, so please make sure you read that. But I've collected and kind of consolidated your questions and your concerns, and I'm going to go over them in this video, as well as just allow you to read them. Hopefully hearing me expound on them a little bit will be helpful. So out of the roughly 60 students, we had kind of 10 similar questions, which is generally what happens. So we're going to go through this. Course questions. Question about discussion board length. That was a big one for several of you. That's kind of my fault. I'm sorry. I said I wanted about 1,000 characters, which is like every single letter. So like this would all be, characters. Even though there's a certain number of words. So letters, spaces, punctuation, all that sort of stuff. And recently, I guess Blackboard switched to where the text box is now counting words instead of characters, so that makes it a little bit harder. So it's not 1,000 words. I'm not that mean and sadistic and cruel, at least in this class. So try to get like 200, 250 words. Really, I just want you to think on that screen, on that page, demonstrate writing. I'm not looking for 1-2 word answers, right? I'm looking for some actual depth in your thought, and you can't do that unless you start exploring them. Question roughly boils down to why do we have journals? What are we trying to do with them? And we have 4 journal assignments. They're only worth 25 points each, but each one of them kind of leads us to thinking about that next step. So we'll like journal 1 that we're just doing is asking you to think about what you currently know and how to apply it to some of the lessons and readings that we'll be looking at. So the idea is that we'll be reflecting on our journals a little bit as we go along, but they're kind of these leaps in thought or logic that take us from one lesson, one area of work to another. And that's really what I want us to look at them. There's 4 of them. They're not hard. I'm not looking for, perfect papers here. How does the book review work? That's a good question. The student is asking is, are we all working together or whatever? We are reading this book together as a class. You are all answering the same questions in the discussion board, and then you're all writing summaries. So you can read other people's response and say, I never thought of that. I'm not asking you to interact with them, but I hope that you'll engage some brain muscles as you are reading and thinking about what other people say. The book review discussion boards and summaries are designed to help you think about how to review and what things to focus on. So really, if you hold on to those things, you can have pretty much a rough draft or a warm-up of your book review. I hope that makes sense. Questions about Turnitin. Turnitin is a tool. That's all it is. It is not a police force. It's not a service. It's not some sort of gotcha moment. It's a tool to make things easier for me to grade your papers. You upload your paper in whatever format you have. I get it in a readable format, so I don't have to manage here's a Word document, here's a rich text, here's a PDF. I can interact with that text. I can just click on little words and add comments in a comment box. I can write a long, detailed explanation of my grading. I can provide you a rubric. I can have it check grammar. I can have it check the originality of that paper through, which is what a lot of people are concerned about, which is number 4, through their originality report. The originality report takes your paper and just kind of copies and pastes it into Google and says, hey, what shows up to match other things? It is not foolproof. It is a tool. It is not a policing system that is designed to catch criminals of plagiarism. And anyone who uses that such, I think, is abusing it. Turnitin has filters that allows me to turn off, or any instructor turn off quotations, turn off all sorts of things. I keep it as broad a net as possible because I want you to see that the quotes you are quoting are actually quoted, right? If that makes sense, that they're in quotations, that they're cited. So every piece of information should somehow be cited back to that original source. I want you to see everything. You should, in a college level paper, have a matching percentage because you are quoting sources. So they should be there. You have a bibliography or a works cited that will show up just like from other papers. So it is not foolproof. I'll go over how we look at it. It's just a tool. I want you to learn how to use it. Another question, of course, is when can we fix those papers that have a certain matching? What's going to happen is that you're going to submit something as a draft. You'll be able to see the matching percentage, and then when we turn it in the next time, that's when you do it. If there is some sort of plagiarism, well, there is, okay? We go by the plagiarism policy in the syllabus. There's not another 24-hour period. That's what the question was, to fix those and submit those again. I'm assuming that by the time you have looked at those originality report markings from your draft, that you will have fixed them by the final draft. Plagiarism happens sometimes, is a big concern. I think you've all been scared, given the Riot Act and told that you're going to, who knows where you're going to go if you plagiarize. I think, I like to trust my students, first of all. I don't think you're doing it intentionally most of the time. I have caught intentional plagiarism, and I failed those students for the class. But sometimes it happens because we're not quite sure how to paraphrase well. We're not quite sure, or we just miss a quote, right? But we have to learn to do this. One of the main mistakes students make is that they just write their paper, they throw in their quotes, and they don't cite as they go along. That is lazy writing. Do not do it. It'll lead to plagiarism. Cite as you go. Put some sort of marker in. Let's see. Am I flexible with assignment? Syllabus explains that there's a 24-hour grace period for the major papers. I think everything's flexible. I'm not sitting up, at 11:59 p.m. waiting for your papers to come in and grade them. I like to sleep. So I'm not here to have these gotcha moments and be like, oh, I got you and now you're mine and whatever. It's not The Breakfast Club or whatever, the movie The Breakfast Club, where you guys don't know. Watch The Breakfast Club. It's a little problematic now, but it's still called classic from the 80s. There are some assignments that are time sensitive. When we have a draft that is due, that will be workshopped through Turnitin. That needs to be on time, or else it messes everything up. That's really the only thing. But I don't really want you to be like, hey, I missed 3 weeks. Can I make up everything? That's kind of a shame. It's rude to yourself. It's rude to me. You can't really make up some of the things we're doing because we're building on certain things. You can't talking about Comp 1 is like talk about writing as being like training for a race or a marathon. We can say 10K instead. But you can't cram all your training in for 10K. You can't cram all of your writing in 3 days just because, you had other stuff going on. You have your syllabus. You have the weekly schedules that says when things are due. Most of those week assignments are not going to change from week to week. So if you go into week 7, you'll see pretty much what we are going to be doing. It might change a little bit. Part of the problem is that it's copied over from January, February dates, spring dates. So I need to change those dates to make sure those line up. And that's really the main editing I need to do, is changing those dates, right? In addition, I keep everything pretty consistent. There are most weeks, everything's going to be due on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. There might be a few times where something's due on a Tuesday. But I'm not like coming down with you with 35 assignments due for Monday. That's mean. There's plenty of time. The schedule's up. You'll be okay. There's a duplicate reading. I had switched some things around and I didn't see that. So I'll get it fixed when the time gets closer to it. And finally, conferences. I do say we need a conference. Since we are meeting online, we won't be conferencing face-to-face, kind of like a Zoom or whatever. Unless you want to, we can do that, right? But everything will just be asynchronous, meaning not at the same time. I'll be providing comments, detailed comments through Turnitin that you can look at. And then if you want to schedule a Zoom conference, go ahead. Just say, hey, man, can we meet for Zoom? And I'll be like, sure, dude. So that's kind of where we are. If there's concerns, if you have other concerns, please let me know. Question. Those are questions. Now we get to the concerns. You had a lot of concerns. We had like 20 some different concerns, which is fine. You should be a little concerned. I think a lot of this is a little over worrying because maybe you've been burned in the past, and I'm very sorry about that. But hey, this is an online class. That's a big concern. A lot of you don't necessarily learn the best. And I'm sorry that you are forced into this situation. Lots of times you can feel like you're alone, just like right now. I'm sitting in my bedroom and I'm just talking, and I'm like, is it going anywhere? Is anyone listening to it? You're going to feel that same way. There will be some activities, some group work and discussion board where you're reading each other's papers and providing feedback that way, tossing some ideas around, but nothing's going to be, at the same time. There will also be these videos, which hopefully aren't so awful. Maybe they are, and I'm sorry, but I can't change that now. And then there's availability to meet with me for office hours. And then hopefully I'll make you feel like it's a real class. Big concern is work-life balance or just balancing all these assignments. There's a lot of things going on. I try not to make this class too difficult. I'm not trying to overload you. It's only a 100 level class. I want you to actually get the stuff done rather than, beat you up with the number of stuff that we have, number of things we have to do. Really, the main thing we work on after the book reviews are research projects. So everything after that is the research project, which is combining 5 different sections of a paper together. We work on each paper section together. And all the activities, everything we do in class focuses on that. Okay, so everything we're doing has a purpose. Some of you are concerned about grammar. Look, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes and typos. You just gotta write, okay? I'm not judging you by your writing. Oh, this guy's a big dummy, or this lady's a big dummy. No, I don't judge you like that. I look at it and I try to help you, right? If I notice something, I'll point out the rules. But sometimes you just got to be able to say stuff and not worry about being judged. And that's what we're doing a lot of the time. Some concerns about the amount of writing. Yeah, there's a lot. It's a writing class. This is what we do, right? We write. But you're picking this topic. You should care about this topic. You should have something to say about this topic. You're responding to people about this topic. So, pick something you care about. Within the limits, I'll have limits about what you can select, but you'll find that you have plenty to say. Concerns about time management. Generally, the rule of thumb is that for every hour in class, you should spend 3 hours out of class. That's changed a little bit. It's now like a 2-1 ratio. For me, I say it depends on how fast you can read and write. If it takes you a minute to read a page or whatever, a 40-page paper to read or essay to read is going to take you 40 minutes, maybe 45. Give yourself extra time. So you need to plan that time. Personally, I always tell my students, of course I say it personally, that start off by dedicating yourself to spending 20 to 30 minutes a day working on this class. So if you come and say, I already got it done, great. You don't have to do anything. You're free to go. Go play Mario Kart or whatever you guys do these days, right? But if not, give yourself 20 to 30 minutes. Focus solely on that, and you'll be good. Concerned about falling behind? You need to make a schedule, right? Check your Blackboard calendar. Consolidate your assignments on a single thing. Oh, I'm uploading videos. I'm sorry. But if you go into Blackboard and you go into, I think it's your profile where your name is. Come on. And you go into here, stream notifications, all these things. You can click on what you get notified once a day, right away, when a new assignment comes up, all this sort of stuff. So do this. So you get those emails. You got to check your emails too. There's your calendar where you can see, what's going on this week? What's going on today? What's going on this month? And you see, okay, well, these things are due. These things will appear for you. It's really, really cool. If you have trouble figuring out what you have to do, email your instructor. That's always a great thing, right? That's why we're here. We're here to help you out. Email me at the end, right? If you miss an assignment, I might just say, who cares? It's 10 points, right? It's not worth losing sleep over. It's not even worth losing a nap over. Somebody concerned that you're not a good writer. No one starts out being a good writer, just like no one starts out being a good runner, right? You got to slowly build up to it. So it takes practice, and you just have to do it. You have to suck it up and say, well, I'm going to get better. I'm doing more. I'm going to write more. So keep that in mind. Some of you are concerned about getting stuck. When you get stuck, you have to write your way out, right? There's no other solution. Write yourself out. The writing prompts throughout the class will help you outline what you want to say. The rest of the time, ask yourself questions, right? Pretend you're me, right? And grow a beard and whatever. And be like, okay, if I were the instructor, here's what I'd be asking you to do. Pretend, and then write those answers. That's all writing is a dialogue, right? Here's what I think people need to know. And write your way, talk your way out of it. Talk to yourself. It's fine. Concerns about stress. Yes, there's a lot to be stressed about in life, especially right now. You got a lot of things going on. I try to make this course as easy and friendly and giving as I can, but you have to exert your control over the course materials, and you have to figure out how to make things less stressful on yourself. What tactics can you use? What ways can you regain control and say, this is what I'm doing? And, sometimes you have to give things up, and that happens, but you'll figure that out. You are concerned about your critical thinking skills. Like writing, it comes with practice. I don't expect you to be masters at critical thinking and masters in argument and debate. No, this is just the beginning, right? We grow as thinkers by being challenged, which is I'm going to do a lot to you, by accepting that we were wrong. That's a hard thing to do. And by not by knowing the answers, right? We have to learn to address these challenges, fix what's wrong. Okay, maybe I can say it this way, and then try to find the answers that we can that are good enough for right now. It's never going to be perfect. You're never going to know everything. It's never going to be a final, simple solution to whatever problems you're trying to find. Let's see. Someone said, I want to make sure you give me feedback on all my errors. And that's like a lot of pressure on me too, right? I'm human. I'm not a computer. I'm not going to spend an hour going through your 2-page paper checking every single sentence and everything like that, because I have certain expectations that the papers you're giving me are supposed to be ready at a certain level, right? Similarly, that I have a lot of students and that I have to give you the feedback that is necessary at the time. So if we're working on a draft of beginning your argument or something like that, and I point out an inconsistency or a problem in your argument at the very beginning of your paper, there's not much of a point for me to fix your commas at the end of the paper, because you're going to be rewriting that entire paper in order to address those issues. Then we can start looking at it, right? So proofreading is the last step of a paper, not the first. I mean, you can have great sentences, but if you're not saying anything, it doesn't matter, right? You got to say something. Concerns about procrastination. Yeah, we all do it, right? Try to avoid it. Give yourself a schedule, and get the work done. I mean, you're in control. There's no reason for failure, and procrastination is not an excuse. I'm gonna say failure. I'm not saying you have to get an A. C's are great, even a D, whatever. Concerns about different systems for turning in work. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of new programs, and some of them are really, really cool and could be very useful, but are distracting and too much for us to do. So keeping it simple, we do discussion boards, we turn in summaries through Turnitin, we turn in papers through Turnitin, we do the drafting through Turnitin. That's all fairly intuitive, and we have some journals. That's really it. So you're not doing a whole lot of other stuff. I'm not asking you to download, I don't even know what's out there for you to download, but download something crazy and build a web page from used car parts. I don't know. Not being able to go drafts in person. Yeah, that's a concern. Yeah, it's good to have the teacher talk to you, but I'll provide you plenty of feedback. You got to read the comments. That's the main problem, is people don't read comments. If you want to set up a conference, we can do that. All you have to do is email me, call me, and say, hey, can we meet sometime on Zoom? I'll be like, sure, that's fine. What works for you? And we'll work out a time and we'll do it. This person says had a bad experience in Comp 1. Didn't get a lot of help, right? And I'm sorry about that, but everyone's different, right? And sometimes we don't know what we need until we find out we're not getting it. So same way from my point of view, when I hear my colleagues talk about, okay, well, what's the point of giving feedback? No one ever reads it. No one ever applies it. Why am I spending a half hour reading this paper and writing comments when it goes right into garbage, right? So what is the value of our work, right? As a teacher, we have a certain set of skills, just like in Taken, but different. We have a certain set of skills, and we want those to be valued, and we expect students to pick up on them. But if nobody is, well, whatever. You're just looking at that letter grade and saying, okay, well, I got an A. I don't care. I got a B. That's good enough. If you want more feedback, some instructors just expect you, or they even tell you to contact you. I can't speak. Same thing goes with me. I'm going to try to give you some feedback that I feel is focused. You'll always get a nice little paragraph from me. And if you're not getting enough, let me know. Right? That's what email's for. Contact me. We'll talk through stuff. It'll be fun. Workload compared to Comp 1. Yeah, we're doing a little more. It feels like a lot more, and it'll be a little bit more because we're putting it all together into one big paper. So it's fun. It's a good time. I say that and you don't believe me, but I think it's fun. Concerns about keeping up with due dates, they're all listed. You miss one, contact me. Sometimes you gotta screw up, and that's all right. You let one go. It's all right. I challenge you. Let an assignment go. See how it feels when it doesn't hurt. All right. Work-life balance. We talked about this a little bit, but I'm sympathetic. I'm very busy as well. I'm a student. I'm a parent. I work full time. I'm coaching my kids' soccer. I'm taking a doctoral class that has like 100 pages, 120 pages of reading a week, and I got to write a bunch of papers for it. I got to read all your papers, so it's a good time. I say that a lot. I'm sorry, but we all do the best we can, and that's all we can help to do. Sometimes we have to let things go. So, what can I not do today? You got to take care of yourself. You got to eat. You got to sleep. You got to take care of your family. You got to spend time doing things you enjoy. You got to put food on the table. You got to work, and then you've got to do this stuff. How does it all fit in? You'll figure it out. Let's see. Time requirements. I've addressed some of that earlier. Meeting the word count. Trying to do bath time right now, so I'm missing that. I'll be done in just a minute, and I can help. All right. Meeting the word count. A lot of you are very concerned about this big thing. You're going to be fine. You're going to care about your topic. You're going to pick something. We're spending these first 4 to 5 weeks figuring out what it is we want to focus on for our topic. We begin that right now. So this kind of ties into Concern 21. Take it serious. If you read through the comments from previous students, and I'll reiterate where you find that, you'll see that they say, take it serious at the beginning. A lot of students kind of just slacked off because, I'll just write about this because that sounds like an easy topic. Pick something that you think you want to be stuck researching for a good 10, 12 weeks, digging into and saying something that you care about. Then finally, assignment, dread, and overload. Yeah, you look at this thing, it looks like a lot. Just like anything you look at from far away, you're like, I can't ever do it. But as you go step by step, you will make it through it. All right, I promise you that. You stick with me. I'll get you through this class. Real quick, I do wanted to, who am I, an English teacher? I do want to show you this tips and advice from previous students. If you haven't seen this, go ahead and click on this, and that will show you some of the good advice where they talk about, hey, you should make sure that you take some time and go through some things. All sorts of stuff. So that is a useful thing. Otherwise, let me get out of here. I am finished with this, and it's a long video, and I'm very sorry, but go through this, read this, and hopefully this allays some of your concerns and you feel better. If not, contact me and we will chat. So have a good night.